can remember how this stuff works. What's up? What's up? Carmine Didisco here. The Shark Tank Effect. We are in the house. We got a great show planned. We got a great season planned. We got a lot of cool stuff happening. Let me bring on the king of manufacturer, the Shark Tank winner himself, Mr. Christopher Guerrera. What's up, Chris?
Carmine, what's happening, baby? How about all the shows we have going on?
Dude, it's insane. I got this list.
Big show, right?
It's crazy.
The Super Zoo.
Oh, yeah, man. We got Super Zoo. You know, we're looking for pet products now. You know, every week we're looking for different products. It's crazy.
Yeah. So we're going to have a holding spot with a link, and we'll start promoting it with Market Blast that folks who have pet products can actually sign up through this portal and have an opportunity to pitch it to some of the big brands in our panels. I think I've already got 22 guests signed up to be on our pitch panels. It's going to be, I mean, this show is taking off like it did with Inspire and National Hardware Show. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Super Zoo's, it ain't some small show. I mean, I didn't realize how big the pet product industry is. It's huge.
And honestly, if nothing else, the beach party alone is worth the trip on the 17th. It's going to be, well, August 15th is like an educational piece. 16, 17, 18 is a show. We're going to have the stage 16 and 17, and then we're going to end it with a beach party.
Wow.
It is, I'm telling you, one of the best parties I've been to. So sign up if you haven't. This is going to be a special edition, by the way. This is going to be released in between our normal releases with our guest and my new partner, Chris Annoual, who invented and is the founder of Pal1. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm really happy to be here.
Look how great his camera is.
I know.
I need to upgrade my equipment.
He's making us look bad.
Yeah, man.
So, Chris, let's talk about you a little bit. You do a lot of different things, right? We'll talk about like the panels you're on with us at the UIA, but you do a lot of different things. And the more I got to know you, the more I realized how talented you are. I mean, you're into social media, you're into podcasting, you're into graphic arts, websites. So talk about you a little bit and talk about, you know, at the end of all of that, how you came up with Pal1.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So when you grow up being broke and you don't have a lot of money, you have to learn all these skills to run a business. And I think that's pretty much how I started. You know, I've always been an entrepreneur since middle school. I used to go to Costco and buy the bulk Twix, sell the individual ones to my classmates, you know, kind of like that. And I basically ate all the profits.
Skills right there.
So I only made enough money to eat the profits. So I was just eating free Twix. I never spent the money on anything else. I was just basically just eating all the profits, you know. I got high in my own supply, unfortunately. But that was where my first taste of, no pun intended, of entrepreneurship, basically, you know, came into my life, you know. I love the fast paced, you know, money I was getting. I was providing a service and a product to my classmates. Everybody loved it. I was basically known as a candy guy throughout middle school. And I think that was, you know, like I said, my first taste of entrepreneurship. And I've always been a creative guy. So from there, I kind of transitioned into design. I had a really big passion for design. And I just took a few YouTube. So I graduated from YTU, which is YouTube University. You know, I took I learned Photoshop. I learned Adobe Illustrator, all of the Adobe, you know, products. And from there, I started designing flyers, you know, for clubs and for friends, and that just transitioned into business. And I know eventually I just started I started with products, and I didn't know what I was doing back then. So I kind of gave up the whole, you know, product thing. And then I got a summer job one year at an airline, at an aviation company. And I started inspecting jet engine parts, you know, just like airplane engine parts. And I've always wanted more, you know, I've always wanted more than just working a part-time job, making $10 an hour. So I started seeing all these guys coming in from the shop, and they would sell jet engines, like the actual engine. So I started asking them questions and trying to figure out how they did it. I would take notes every time I asked a question. After a year, I knew enough knowledge to start selling my own jet engines. So I got an investor and I flipped an engine. And that year I made like $250,000. And it was, for me, it was just,
so much for buying Twix candy bars.
yeah, but it's a gateway, you know, it's all a gateway.
Yeah.
So from there, I just, I really didn't like it. I disliked the whole jet engine business. You know, it was very tedious. I had to drive hours a day and go to every single shop, check on the, because when you disassemble an engine, it's in modules. So you have to take the modules to different shops. So I had to go to all the shops, check in what's going on. And it was very tedious. So eventually I kind of just cashed out of that business. And me and my ex-partner, we had a few ideas to invent products. I actually have a notepad filled with, it says inventions, and it has like probably over 150 different invention ideas that I have. Every time I see a problem in the world, I just find solutions to it. I write them down, and then I come up with solutions to them later on. So Pal1 was one of those problems. Well, actually, before that, we had the idea to make a shoe that disconnected from the sock. And anyways, we worked 6 months on that. It didn't get anywhere. And we find out a year later that same exact design, somebody went on Shark Tank with it. The company's called Moves, and they got a deal. I think I don't know if it was Damon or somebody, but they got a deal. And I reached out to the guy and I was like, dude, I had the same idea like 2 years ago. And the reason I didn't pursue it was because if you go on Google Patent and you check all the patents that other companies have, I saw Nike owned almost every single patent for a shoe. They had patents that they're never going to make just because they want to corner the market. Right. So I never pursued that business. And then the next product in line was Pal1, which started as gas rag. That's literally what it was run down in Notepad, gas rag. And it went from gas rag to a full-blown company, you know, selling hundreds of thousands of units. And that's kind of where we are today.
So talk about what is the Pal1? Because I love the name. And I hear, when I hear Pal1, I always think about my best friend. So tell us what it is.
It's funny, you know, that the name started as Handguard V1. That was the initial name. It wasn't sexy at all. Handguard V1. And then eventually, obviously, you know, we had to kind of, you know, find a more marketable name, and it ended up being Pal1. So Pal1 is reusable, eco-friendly, one size fits all, a silicone glove, food grade silicone glove, so it's non-toxic, non-BPA, and it stores directly inside your car's gas tank, fuel compartment, actually. Yeah, so I don't know if this is live, but you know, here it is.
Yep.
It has a removable adhesive mounting clip. So you
goes
peel
inside
the back of it.
It goes inside your door of your gas cap.
Right. So if your car is metal, then Pal1 has built-in magnets, so it will stick directly on the gas tank. If your car isn't metal and you have one of the plastic gas tanks, then you just peel the back of that adhesive mounting strip, you stick it on, and Pal1 sticks directly to it.
Yeah, if it's carbon fiber like Chris's car.
Yeah,
Chris
hey,
Pereira's
you
car.
know,
Got race cars.
Light, fast cars. All right, put the glove on. Show it how it works when you put the glove on. It's to eliminate you touching the actual gas pump, the dirtiest thing imaginable, right?
Very simple design too. That's what I love.
Yeah, I hear all these stats like about remote controls, how dirty they are in hotel rooms. Well, I think those look clean compared to the handle of a think about that, a gas pump. It's disgusting.
Well, yeah, statistically, gas pump handles are the filthiest thing you could touch on earth. They have over 2.3 CFUs, which is colony forming units of bacteria per square inch. So, you know, we didn't even know that when we started designing Pal1. We just didn't like touching them because they were disgusting. And there's so many news articles of people, you know, strapping needles to them. There was somebody in, I forgot what state, he taped a needle to the back of a gas pump handle, and it's just very nefarious things that people do. And aside from that, they're just disgusting. But when we actually started doing the research and we started to realize how disgusting they really were, I was like, people need to know about this, because a lot of people just don't like touching them because it's like touching a doorknob. They're disgusting, but you don't know how disgusting. So just to put it into perspective, they're 11,000 times dirtier than a toilet seat, than a public toilet seat.
Jesus.
11,000 times.
A public toilet seat to boot. Right. Nasty. So what made you think of it? Like, you must have, you know, I always, it's kind of ironic because when I touch like door handles, everyone has this subconscious thing about that's nasty, or a bathroom. People don't wash their hands. They come out, they're touching the door. I don't want to be touching that.
Yeah.
You'd be touching somebody else's junk. You know what I'm saying? So what came to mind when you start realizing you need something different? And I know some people use this, including me. I love it. I mean, because I'm that guy that says this is so gross. You can even feel it sometimes how nasty those pumps are. No one ever cleans them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, every time I would get gas, my dad, he would go in his car and he would just put sanitizer on every single time. And the same thing with my friends, the same thing with my mom, every single time. And I see people, even this is before the pandemic, we had this idea before COVID, and just every day, like and if he wouldn't, let's say he's out of hand sanitizer, he would get a receipt, a paper towel or something. And I think, somebody commented us a long time ago, I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but they started installing plastic glove dispensers in gas stations, and this was like
I saw that, right?
Yeah, and there's not just one company, a bunch of companies, and this was like 6, 7, 8 years ago. So they caught onto this a long time ago. But the problem with that is you're creating plastic pollution and plastic waste, which is bad for the environment. It's funny, Shell gas station in the UK had reached out to us last year, and they're looking for alternatives to plastic pollution, because what's happening was people were taking the plastic gloves, they were throwing them in the gas in the trash can, and they were completely missing. So it was polluting the areas around the gas stations and polluting the environment. So they reached out to us and they were like, "Hey, we love your product. Let's talk." And we're actually still in talks with Shell gas station in the UK, because they're looking for a sustainable solution to plastic gloves.
Yeah, which I think is really cool. So okay, so now you got this thing. So you started it, you developed it. What happened? How did it come to this shape, right? This shape into a glove, this material, all that, right? There's so much work that goes behind
trial
the
and
scenes,
error, man.
right?
Probably 8 different prototypes. It started. I wish I had them with me. It started off as a gym glove, which we just cut and put magnets on, and then it transitioned into an oven pot glove, which we put magnets in, just testing different concepts. And it looks like a simple design. Like you would think it's such a simple, easy design anybody could do. I get comments all the time saying, "Oh, it's just a pot glove." Like, no, this design took us almost 2 years to really perfect, because we had to make something that was one size fits all. We had to make sure it was a material that was antimicrobial, because silicone bacteria doesn't colonize on silicone, so it almost makes it antimicrobial. We had to make sure it was one size fits all. We want it to be one hand only, because it defeats the purpose of touching or grabbing a glove to put it on. So
I would think too, any gas that gets on this, right? Because silicone and fluorosilicones are really good with
right.
With, the shrinkage and swelling of fuel.
Right. So the design has many facets to it. It's and the thumb is ergonomic. The thumb we had before, you weren't able to actually press the keypad button. So the thumb was designed like that, so you could actually press the keypad buttons, because we didn't want you to touch anything. Because the glove, the gas handle has 2.4 million colony forming units of bacteria. The keypad buttons have about 1.5. So we wanted to make sure you don't have to touch those either. And if you look in the bottom of the glove, there's a hole in it, and the hole has a purpose. It's so whenever you go through a car wash or it rains, it could drain the water that gets stuck in it. So we just took a lot of feedback and a lot of trial and error, and we perfected it. We're still working on certain aspects of it, but for the most part, it's a very optimized design how it is now.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's pretty cool. It definitely serves a purpose, and this comes in all the colors, right?
Yep. Yeah, we have it in blue, green, red, pink, marble, pink tie-dye, gold tie-dye.
It's just amazing, like when you think about, like you said, you have 150 ideas, right? There's so many problems and simple solutions that sometimes you say, "Oh, I can come up with that." And when you don't act on it, somebody else really will.
Yeah.
I think I can't tell you how many times I've heard, "Oh, I thought of that idea," but you didn't act on it. That's the difference, right? With ideas, you have to act on them to make them real.
Yeah, there's an abundance of good ideas, but there's really a lack of people willing to execute on them, which is one of my favorite quotes. And somebody, I once heard a saying that the average person has $1 million idea at least once in their lifetime that they never act on. So think about that. So many people have great ideas. And I know a lot of people that actually write down their ideas in a notepad like I do, and they just leave it there to collect dust, and they never act on it. They never execute on them. And they never know how far you could actually come by just starting your idea. You could do anything.
Chris, I recall being a kid, and I probably was like, I don't know, 7, 8. I don't know why this just sticks in my head vividly. Like when I was 13, I had the largest paper in Waterbury, Connecticut. Like that's part of entrepreneurial skills,
Yeah.
right? Like always being competitive and competing. But I remember being in line. It was just like a store, just a basic store before the Walmarts were around. There were Kmarts. I'm really old, so they were like Kresge's, I think, back then, before Kmart. I remember just standing in line saying, you know how much money you could make? This isn't like a 7, 8-year-old kid saying all you need is one idea, like a keychain. I used to just pull one off the shelf. This fancy, funny little keychain that had like a little bottle opener on. I was just a kid. And if you sell 1 million of these and you make $2 profit on each one, you're set for life. This is a 7-year-old kid saying this.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you put it in context of it being that simple, that's before I knew anything about manufacturing, marketing, design, any of that stuff, right? So you look at like how simple when you break it down and make it simple. You can't lie to yourself, right? You got to be real to yourself. You can't say, oh, I got $1 million idea and then do nothing with it, or really not $1 million idea, right? It's got to be marketable. It's got to be that whole party. It's got to be good to
Got to solve a bigger problem.
Man, woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you got that now, right? You got a product that's great. So how did you finally realize you got something? How did you start marketing it? And you sold a bunch of units, so you obviously did something right. So what was the next step? So yeah, you got a product, you got colors now, you know it works, it's safe. What did you do next? How did you sell so many units?
Great. So yeah, it's a great question. Man, so after we had the concept down, we didn't know anything about marketing, about advertising, e-commerce, online sales, Shopify, anything. So my partner and I, my ex-partner and I, we spent hours and hours, probably over 100 hours just researching, watching videos, how to run ads, how to learn Facebook ads, how to learn Google ads, how to market, and eventually we just started running Facebook ads. I had bought a camera and started recording videos. And how Facebook works and how the algorithm works, you have to just keep putting out as much content as possible, as many creators as possible, find different angles. I don't mean actual physical angles. I mean just angles to market it. Whether we're using an educational angle, we're using fear angle, this is gonna make your kids sick, because it's true. And we just started putting out as many creators as possible on Facebook, and eventually one specific creative hit, which is, it's funny because the video that worked the best for us was just a video going to a gas station, opening the gas door, putting our hand, just using the product. We tried to do all this creative stuff and do this and create a high production video, which didn't work. And it was just a simple, like, this is what you're getting. This is we just demonstrated the problem, and then we presented the solution. And it's funny, when we started running ads in the first month, we didn't have any product. That's a whole other story. We had like 5,000 units that were done wrong. So we had to kind of trash them all. So we didn't have any products. So we're like, look, we don't have any money. Let's just run some ads. Let's see if we get some traction. In the first month, we sold 10,000 units without having a single product with us. So we had to basically use that money and manufacture all the products and do some damage control because people weren't going to get their gloves for another like four months. So we had to basically email everybody individually, over 10,000 people, and tell them, hey, look, we're sorry, we completely sold out. Do you want to wait, or do you want us to refund you? And 99% of them actually wanted to wait for it. And that's when we knew we had something. We're like, wow.
Yeah, so, and it's a communication. I think it's really important to have a good face with customer service. And honestly, Chris, my view of you, and I wouldn't say this if I didn't believe it, you're really easy to talk to. You're a good dude. You're heartfelt. You're trustworthy, honest. I mean, these are all major characteristics of someone successful, right? There's a lot of scammers. In your case, like I see you do your videos, your social media, they're really good. They keep me watching. their educational. These are all important things, and you're credible. I mean, those are so. When you tell me that, I believe it, because part of somebody that's really trustworthy is communication, right? Okay, you oversold yourself. Now you got a problem, but you didn't back away and not communicate, right? You didn't run away from the problem. You took it head on.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, let me contact every single person. I owe it to them. And when I first met you, I felt that way about you. Now that I know you, it's clear why you've been successful. So those are all really important characteristics, I think, in running a business and being truthful and upfront with your customer base. Then you'll get a following. Because honestly, I always say this: you can have the best product in the world. If nobody knows about it and you don't treat the customer right, it won't matter in the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's why I think that's why one of the reasons why you've been so successful, outside of having a good product where you get repeat orders.
For sure. Yeah. The best customer is a customer kept, is a customer retained, you know, and it's very like your customers are like your plants. You have to, you have to water them. You have to give them what they need. You have to give them nutrients. You got to be nice to your customers, because it's hard to find customers. I mean, just to acquire a customer, it was costing us $15 just to acquire one customer. So, you have to treat your customers with respect, and you have to, give them what they paid for. And if you can't give them what they paid for, you have to give them a reason why you can't give them what they paid for. Right. So, it made me really fall in love with my product even more when I started emailing customers, and they were so just understanding. We were very honest with them. We're like, look, we don't have any more products. We completely sold out. We were very realistic with the timelines. We didn't say, hey, you're gonna have it in a week. We're like, look, it might take us another 2 months, it might take us 3 months. We appreciate, you being a customer, and we understand if you'd like a refund. And just by being that honest and flagrant with them, it was like night and day. They were just so understanding and so heartwarming, and that it almost made us cry. We're like, man, these people are great. Like, and a lot, and I think it also goes hand in hand with the product, because the type of product that we're selling is a product that only specific type of people need and want. And from what we noticed by doing ads, our demographic is mothers. Moms love Pal because they want to protect their kids, they want to protect their family. So when we started seeing all the people writing back to us in the emails, they were mostly all women, like very nice, mothers, from what we think.
And I think there's an opportunity to branch out now that you have a good customer base with some other products. So what's next? What's next for Pal?
Well, what we want to do is redesign it, answer all the questions. There's a few areas that we can improve on. There's feedback that we're constantly monitoring in the comments. There's people want a bigger version. Some people want a smaller version. So it's finding that middle ground, because Pal is the middle ground between a bigger and a smaller version. So what we're trying to do now is just meet every single demand and answer all the feedback, and just, and come up with more products. We have a few other products in mind. I know a lot of people want it for Teslas. So I'm working on a Tesla version for electric cars, because if you look at the statistics, electric charging station handles are not far behind gas pump handles now, in terms of, the amount of bacteria that's on them. So we want to address that problem as well. Right, and also, cool. There's a few other ones. There's actually a pet product that I got to talk to you about that falls under the Pal branch as well. I'm going to call it Poop Pal. I'm just going to leave it at that.
I love it. Everybody needs a Poop Pal.
Yep.
Well, the show's coming up. You're going to be there, and we'll lead right into that. So, Carmine, this is where Chris can use some of your support, right, on design and some of the manufacturing stuff that you provide. I think it'll be great for the next wave. And obviously the new designs. Let's close the show with what we're doing at the national shows with the UIA. You've had a chance to be a speaker and be on panels. What is that like for an inventor who's trying to show off their product? You've been there, you know how hard that is and how important it is. We're bringing some pretty big names, right? We're bringing some really great companies, and we're bringing and matching them with great products. What's that like for you as an entrepreneur and an inventor to see that opportunity?
Well, first of all, I think I told you this before. That was my first time ever going on stage, ever being on a panel. Before that, when I first started my company Pal, I'm a designer, so I'm very I'm a homebody. I used to get nervous being on camera. I used to get nervous just to go on Zoom calls. So to see how I transitioned from this guy that was scared to go on Zoom calls to somebody who was on stage talking about his product in front of hundreds of people, it's crazy, and it's like night and day. And I feel like that gave me a really good opportunity to, and not, aside from that, the people that are there, everybody part of the UIA and all the Shark Tank alumni, they're such welcoming people, and they make it so easy, and they remove all the fear of public speaking. And it was great. I mean, the entrepreneur community is so welcoming, and they're hungry for knowledge. And it's the same thing as making videos online. Like I try to provide as much value as possible to the community, and you guys make it really easy because everyone's so understanding and welcoming, and it's great. It was an awesome experience.
Oh
yeah. So that and the feedback we get, which like it ties right into you, the feedback we get from the inventor, the opportunity, like you can't believe it. So now we've already got the new contracts for 2024. Like it's just blowing up. We're adding 5 more shows this year. We'll be close to 12 shows, and now we're getting colleges reaching out, which I think that's another great avenue. I hear about how they teach entrepreneurship, and I know, what are they really teaching? Who better to teach it than people who've actually been through it and done it and succeeded in it, right? Than a professor who really hasn't been, but by theory will try to walk you through it. That's why I think we really can blow this up to a whole new level because of the talents that we have in our network.
And every time I go, I learn something new. Hearing Kelly speak, and hearing Scott from I'm a Chef Too, and everybody else there, they have such amazing stories. Like Scott started in his garage, and look where he is now. It's
kitchen table, and I went and visited him. So now I saw with my own eyes, like it's real stuff, like real growth, real business decisions that have to be made. It's not just invented a product. I think I know what to do. No, I invented a product. Now I have to run a business because it's blowing up. I have to learn how to do this really quick.
Yeah,
everything you do, it affects your cash flow, your bottom line, your future growth, how important people are. So all of these things, and I've been helping them a little bit with some of that structure. I've done that my whole life, right? I mean, I've been in corporate America my whole life, but part of manufacturing is people, it's process. Right. And when you get those two combined, you can reach limits you never thought you'd achieve.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear all that, Carmine. What another great show. This will be a special edition. We're going to get this out as soon as we can because we want to really promote the Pump Pal and our new partnership. We want to take this to a whole new level.
Yeah, it's really cool. The one thing I loved about how Chris just explained that, that he was kind of an introvert and he's a designer, is that I think that's how a lot of us inventors start out.
Funny,
a lot of the Shark Tank people there, they kind of have the same story, but as Chris mentioned, we're all there just collaborating, we're friends, and we're like, just get up on that stage and tell your story and talk. And there's no one that's trying to up the next person. It's just really a fun time. What I loved about Chris being up on stage is, first off, some of the people in the audience were yelling out that they love this product. So it's so cool that when you have a product and there's people in the audience that have purchased it and used it and given feedback. I mean, it's a great feeling, right, Chris?
Hey, including Mindy from Shark Tank Casting.
That's what I was going to say. Man, that was, to me, that was a surreal moment because everyone was trying to talk to her, and then I finally got my opportunity, after the dust settled, and I was like, hey, I applied for Shark Tank last season, and I got a yes, but then I got cut a week before because they for whatever reason, and she's like, oh, who's your company? I'm like, Pump Pal. She's like, you're Pump Pal? I was like, yeah, why? She's like, I have your product in my car. I love it. I use it every day. I was like, to me, like I almost started crying. I was like, that was amazing feeling because everyone knows what Mindy is, So just her saying that, I felt like I that was like a big win.
Validation.
It's huge validation.
It's
huge
cool.
Validation.
And that only happens at these shows, man. And that's what's so great about it. You weren't there bragging. You weren't there trying to push them out of the way to get to talk to her. Just talking. And here's somebody that says, I have your product. I use it. I love it. And no matter who it is, it's just a great feeling.
Yeah, it could be anybody, but it's just such a surreal moment for me, honestly.
And how great was Mindy and Vincent, right? They stayed they were there for 3 days, but with everyone trying to meet them, they stayed the entire time and met every single person, which I thought was over the top.
The one thing I want to say, Chris, is that I loved when you got off stage. People came up to you, they talked to you, you stayed there, you answered their questions, you helped them as long as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is the true meaning of what not only we, but what you're trying to do. And I was very impressed by not only how you talked, how you control yourself on the stage, but also when you came off stage, you didn't act like some big shot and, hey, I got to go. You helped every person that waited there to help you. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I wish I had that when I was starting my product. We had no direction, nothing, there was no chat GPT. There was barely even people on YouTube at that time, giving advice on how to do anything. So we had to learn by trial and error, and we made a lot of big mistakes. We got taken advantage of by a lot of big companies. We spent over $60,000 of our personal money to build this product when it should have costed a lot less. So what I try to do is just give as much value and insight to any inventor that is in the position that I was in back then. And, hopefully I could save them from making a few mistakes and help them, achieve their goals. And that's kind of what I want to do moving forward. I think that's kind of my why right now, other than building products, is to help, other entrepreneurs invent and build their own products successfully.
Yep. I think I've been doing that my whole life with corporate America and now with the entrepreneurships.
Yeah. It just
Absolutely.
Feels so
and I'm hoping that, like, the Miami Heat, where Chris is from, the Miami Heat makes it to the finals. Everyone knows I've been a Lakers fan forever. So I get to go to Miami and watch the Lakers win on his home court.
You know what? Those are my two favorite teams. So when the Heat aren't winning, the Lakers are my favorite team. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough, man.
All right, Chris. Well, I appreciate you being on the show, man. You've done a lot of great work and continue to do it. And our partnership, we're going to take it to the next level. And everyone in the world's going to know Punk when we're done. I'll be singing the song on the stage. You hear my band?
Oh, no, don't do that. We want people to stay, Chris. We don't want to scare them away.
We got to create a pump out jingle.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, listen, man, this has been a great show. We've had some awesome shows. We got a bunch more shows coming on. We got some really, really good Shark Tank entrepreneurs, winners coming up. We have planned for these shows. So I ask all you listeners out there, first, I say thank you for listening. Please go on and subscribe to our show and make sure you leave a review, a rating. We'd all love to hear back from you. If you have some feedback, it would be awesome. For Chris and for Christopher Guerrero, we thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time on the Shark Tank Effect. You all take care.